There's a real sense of anxiety growing in Moscow. They're worried that their historic, super strong relationship with India is starting to crack. And the reason why? Well, it's a fascinating story about shifting loyalties, raw economic power, and a seriously high-stakes geopolitical game.
Wow. Okay, check out this quote. This is from Russia's top diplomat, Sergei Lavrov. He's basically accusing the US of trying to forbid India from buying their discounted oil. This is way more than just a diplomatic jab. It's a flashing red light signaling this intense geopolitical tug of war for influence over India, which is, one of the most important rising powers on the planet. And look, this isn't just one minister venting. This feeling, this concern, it goes way deeper. It's spreading all through Russia's foreign policy establishment.
So all across Russia, you've got analysts and experts asking this really critical question. Are we losing India? I mean, the fact that Delhi and Washington are getting so close has set off all kinds of alarm bells, and it's kicked off this very public, very worried debate inside Russia about the future of their partnership. And this anxiety goes all the way to the top. A statement like this from a deputy foreign minister, that is not your typical diplomatic doublespeak. It's a really direct, almost pleading expression of hope that India getting closer to the US won't come at Moscow's expense. You can really feel the concern there. Right, so this isn't just a bunch of abstract fears. These worries got a serious dose of reality from a very specific and pretty surprising event that just went down in Mali. So here's the deal. Russia was all in on this big lithium mining project in Mali, and they got India on board, which was a huge diplomatic win for Moscow. But then, pretty suddenly, India backed out. The official reason they gave was super vague, just security risks. But, the timing and the lack of any real details left a lot of people in Moscow thinking something else was going on. From Moscow, this was way more than just some business deal falling through. No, they saw this as a clear political signal. They interpreted it as India deliberately aligning its strategic interests away from them, which just poured gasoline on their fears that India was pulling away for good. But to really, truly get what's happening here, we have to talk about the single most important thing holding the modern India-Russia relationship together. And that is oil. So picture this. After sanctions hit Russia hard in 2022, they turned to India with an offer that was, frankly, too good to refuse. Huge discounts on their crude oil. This energy pillar, as they call it, became the absolute bedrock of their economic relationship, and it made India one of Russia's most crucial customers. But that pillar is now under some serious, serious pressure. And this puts India in a really tough spot. I mean, they are caught between a rock and a hard place. On one side, you have the US threatening to slap on 25% tariffs if India buys too much Russian oil. But on the other side, you've got Russia offering the cheapest oil you can find anywhere. So India is stuck right in the middle of this geopolitical vice. And listen to this, because this is a huge admission. Russian experts are no longer even debating if India will cut back its oil purchases. The conversation has shifted to by how much. It's like they're resigned to the fact that US pressure is going to work. Their new hope is just to keep some oil flowing, even if it's less, just to keep that energy pillar from completely crumbling. So all of this, it really boils down to one fundamental problem, a massive, and I mean massive, imbalance of economic leverage. When you strip away all the diplomacy, the history, the military ties, who actually holds the economic power in this relationship? Well, the answer becomes crystal clear when you just follow the money. Just look at this. This chart tells you pretty much the whole story. The United States is this gigantic market for Indian goods, buying about $100 billion worth every year. Russia, it's a blip in comparison, buying only about $5 billion worth. The difference is it's staggering. It's not even in the same league. And here's the real kicker. It's not just about total trade. It's about profit. India is on track to have a $90 billion trade surplus with the United States. That means India sells way, way more to the US than it buys from them. It's an incredibly profitable relationship for the Indian economy. Okay, so keep that $90 billion surplus in your head. Now look at this number. Russia's total purchases from India are about $5 billion. That's not a surplus, that's the total. It's a tiny fraction of what the US buys. We're talking about completely different universes of economic importance. And that, right there, is the bottom line. It's as simple as that. The United States has leverage. They can apply pressure because they are an absolutely indispensable customer for India. Their power is built on the tens of billions of dollars they pour into Indian businesses. Russia, on the other hand, just doesn't have that kind of economic muscle. So, with the deck stacked so completely against them, what can Moscow actually do to stop India from drifting further away? Well, as we're about to see, their options are pretty limited. I mean, just think about the corner they're in. Sanctions have slammed the door shut to their traditional Western markets. Their trade with their other big partner, China, is now reportedly going down. We've already seen they have no real economic leverage over India, and to top it all off, their old trump card, selling military gear, isn't what it used to be, as India buys from more countries and builds up its own defense industry. So when you boil it all down, analysts inside Russia are basically coming to one conclusion. There's only one move left on the chessboard. If Moscow wants to rebalance this relationship and get some desperately needed leverage, it has to stop being just a seller and start being a buyer. A big buyer. They have to make themselves economically important to India. And that leaves us with the final multi-billion-dollar question, doesn't it? Can Russia, with all of its own economic problems, really transform its trade relationship with India on that kind of massive scale? Or is the economic gravity of the United States just too powerful to escape, making India's pivot away from Moscow simply inevitable?